Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Eli.
And you're watching Screen Obscura.
And today we're going to be talking about Luc Besson's new romance, gothic, horror...
You love it. You know it.
Adaptation of Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Another remake.
Yeah, I got it.
Starring Caleb Landry Jones as Dracula, Zoe Bleu as the love interest, and Christoph Waltz, who plays a character in this movie. Yep. I thought he was Dracula when I saw the movie poster. I was like, oh, Christoph Waltz.
I know you kept saying, like, leading up to it, you were like, oh yeah, Christoph Waltz is Dracula, and I just wasn't saying anything. every time you would say that, I was kind of just like, yeah. He was second build cast. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I was expecting like and Christoph Waltz at the end, but instead it was like just second place, and I was like, oh, okay. And don't forget, for more videos like this, to like and subscribe to our channel where we talk about things, because it's our fucking opinion.
So it's the same Dracula story that we've seen 100 times.
Yeah, it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's based on the novel, obviously.
Yeah. Funny that they remade this yet again. This is made in France, so it's a foreign film on paper, technically. There's really no recognizable Hollywood actors besides Christoph Waltz.
Well, Caleb Landry Jones. Yeah, I would say, because he played in Get Out, and he played in...
He did?
And he played in X-Men First Class. He played Banshee. Yeah. That's why I fucking knew his face! So he played a couple things.
I thought he was Joseph Quinn for the whole movie.
I don't really know Zoe Bleu.
I don't either.
But just based on name and face, to be honest, I didn't recognize her.
Speaking of names, Luc Besson directed Fifth Element. Excuse me?
And The Family, starred Robert De Niro.
Yeah. I went into this kind of expecting like kind of an indie feel. And I knew it was Dracula, so I figured it'd be the same story that we've seen 100 times. Generally, my thoughts on it were, it was good. Wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't bad either. I would say it's slightly above average in terms of filmmaking. There's a lot of great sequences, a lot of great shots. The war sequence at the beginning was really cool.
Oh yeah.
It kept your attention throughout the entire movie. I thought the pacing was good, characters were good, and the acting all around was really, really strong. And I'm generally impressed by the film for what it is. That being said, it's a Dracula movie. You know how it plays out. Mm-hmm. And we've seen better in the past.
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree. I remember when I first heard about it coming out, I didn't really know it was based actually on the Bram Stoker, the novel. I didn't know it was an adaptation of the classic. I just thought that it was I thought it was gonna be like Dracula Untold a little bit, where it was like a spin on its own direction, which it kind of was, if you want to argue that, but also it really did kind of follow in the 90s with Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman and everyone. Like, it's kind of
Keanu Reeves, horrible Jonathan.
Yeah, what's with horrible people being cast as Jonathan?
I didn't mind him in this movie.
I did.
No brides that you really see in this modern take of it. Like the Dracula's brides. I mean, his associates are out in the world, which would be, I guess, the equivalent to his bride. So there's some spins on this. Also, the fact that it largely takes place in France as the setting,
which I personally loved, by the way. I thought that was awesome. I do love me a little Versailles moment.
Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, in terms of its own kind of adaptation and retelling of the story, it really is hyper-focused on the love aspect of the novel and of the classic with the characters. Spins off in kind of like the direction of Dracula Untold, where he becomes the way he is just based on love and like losing his faith. So I did like that they kind of kept that, what we've seen before. No, I didn't actually like that. Why am I lying? This one was more poetic, and it was more visually focused on like the functional approach of film. It looked like an art piece. It was like an art show almost. What
stuck out to me a lot about this movie actually is the cinematography, the set pieces, the editing actually was quite good. There was a lot of like really good transition shots when it would move behind objects. A lot of good like wipes too that you didn't like, you know. It was very seamless editing. It consistently impressed me. So even though I say that it has an indie feel to it, it does not necessarily like feel like it's a low budget. It actually does really well with what it can do.
It reminded me a lot of, have you seen the movie Spencer? It reminded me a lot of Spencer, the Pablo Larraín film, where it was very much like the Princess Diana film with Kristen Stewart, where it was like they took like a kind of a story that everyone knows, but they turned into this more artistic
Oh, I see. Okay.
piece. It's almost like they turned into like a theater play almost, but they made it
Right.
more,
Yeah, that's a good way to express
that's
it.
what it really reminded me of.
Feels like a theater play. That's actually a great way to put it. You're very immersed in it though, and it's you feel like you're in the world. In Ontario, this is rated 14A, which usually means there's some violence, maybe even nudity, and sometimes there can be blood and gore depending on the amount of it. This was not really graphic at all. There was only one scene that was really graphic, and then funny enough, later on, what they were choosing to do with that body was like cut away. I was just like, you just showed the worst part of what you can do to a human. Yeah, so the violence in the movie was a little bit muted in some parts, but for what the movie was, I think it was fine. It fit the narrative, it fit the theme, it fit the aesthetic.
Yeah, I feel like it was tasteful. Like it was tasteful for the story and the message that they were trying to convey. I will say though, going into the film, I did think it was going to be more of the stereotype of Dracula. I did think it was going to be more kind of horror elements and thrilling. I do like that it was more stripped back and raw in the sense of you kind of feel for him, and they kind of made him sympathetic towards a little bit.
Sympathetic villain,
Yeah, they made him very almost anti-hero-y in the sense, and I don't know.
You understand his perspective.
Yeah, and you feel for him. You feel for him.
Yeah, damn near got emotional at one point for him. I do really like the character of Dracula, I think, and it was portrayed really well in this movie. I think Dracula himself, what was he? Caleb Landry Jones. I think he was the best part of this movie. He really shocked me with his portrayal of Dracula, both in his like vampire form and his human form.
Yeah, and honestly, while I was watching it, all I could think to myself was, wow, like this guy's really proving that he can basically do any genre, because he was like, there was like the romantic heartfelt scenes, there was the parts where he was like hyper emotional, there was the parts where he was kind of like menacing, there was the parts where he was very kind of a little bit comedic, and I was like, wow, he's really well versed, and you can tell that he has, if he doesn't have good experience, then he probably has a personality disorder, because he's really good.
Borderline personality disorder. There's a bit of a comedic tone in this movie too, especially towards the beginning, I found, and it kind of petered off towards the end, but it was a little funny. You get a little chuckles, and just the way they execute things within characters' actions sometimes, or like something going on in the background, it can get a little chuckle out of you. So like it really does, it feels like it's fully involved in the best way, where everything's balanced in terms of tone. So you feel the love, you feel the rage, you feel the comedy, and you feel like the motives for everybody.
I will low comment. The comedic approach was a bit cliched, how it was targeted towards Christoph Waltz's character, almost like a comic relief within the plot. There's always like that one character that's like the more quirky, a little bit more eccentric, and they're more of the comic relief of the film. I was not really expecting Christoph Waltz to be that character, but spoiler, he kind of is more of like the loosey-goosey funny guy in the background.
Do you think it's intentional though? Because I feel like a lot of the comedy was not necessarily intentional, but it's like it can get a reaction out of you.
It's both. I think that Christoph Waltz himself, the way he delivers his lines, because he is so entertaining, I think that he is... I think regardless of if it's supposed to be intentional, it will be, because he's the one delivering it. Yeah. But I will say that there is this common thing where we saw in Nosferatu with like Willem Dafoe's character. We saw it in...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We saw it in the original Dracula. We saw it... We always see it where it's like the older, and it's always like an older like honored actor that's always playing it.
It's true.
And then they're always just like really like eccentric and like kind of flamboyant and just very...
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying.
Oh my god, let me get my knife. Like they're
like always portrayed as loony bins.
Yeah,
the whole loony bin.
Yeah. I will say I wasn't expecting that for Christoph Waltz's character. Did I really like it in this context? It was fine. He
didn't get a whole lot to do in this movie, but when he was there, he did his role. The vampires in this movie were very cool when they did appear. I really love the first sequence that we saw a vampire. This was one of the sequences that was a bit more comedic, but it kind of played on it in a way where it's like educating you on vampires and sort of like how the lore behind them and how they become them, whatever. It was an entertaining way of doing it. I liked it. Yeah. I thought it was a little different.
But all in all, what would you rate this movie?
What would I rate it? I would rate it a 3.5 out of 5.
Really?
Yes. 7 out of 5, or out of 10.
7 out of 5.
Above average. It was a well done movie for what it was doing.
Definitely above average.
It's a story we've seen before, but it was a really well done version of it.
I give this a 3.25.
Okay. Caleb carried the movie enough for me where I was like, this is something I would watch again.
No, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
It's like a comfort.
Yeah.
I can see this being like a comfort vampire movie. Nosferatu is just, it was one of those things that the style of Robert Eggers is something that should have been done a long time ago with the Nosferatu Dracula formula. And once that was done, it was just kind of like, holy geez, it's going to be a while before somebody tops something like that story, Dracula Nosferatu. I think this one actually overshadows the Gary Oldman one, and but I think Nosferatu is better. So I put Nosferatu, this one, 2026, and then the Gary Oldman.
I will say though, there were moments where I do think that a lot of the lovey-dovey prolonged sequences could have been replaced with something a little bit more thrilling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where you weren't really bored, where you weren't really excited anymore after.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. And towards the second act, it's a little not. I don't want to say slower because it doesn't lose your grip on the movie, but you definitely do feel a bit of a drag just for a few minutes. But it's not like Send Help where it just dips down into a hole and you're just like, what the fuck's going on?
I will say though, Maria, I really liked Maria. Maria was very good.
Maria was great.
She was very well done. Matilda de Angelis?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her around before, but we just searched her really quickly. I've seen her face before.
Right.
But I don't know what she's played in before.
When I was seeing her face in the theater, I was like, she looks familiar.
I thought it was Maddie Ziegler. the girl from the Chandelier music video.
Because the one with the bob cut?
Yeah. I was like, oh, she grew up.
Usually we talk about spoilers, but it's a Dracula film. There's not much to spoil. If you've seen the Dracula movies before, you'll know you may or may not enjoy this interpretation of it. Go out and see it for yourself.
I will say, if you do watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms, multiple eggs make an appearance at the end of the movie. If you know, you know.
3, 2, 1, spoilers! So Dracula has gargoyles in this movie. I don't know if in any other universe of Dracula he has gargoyles.
He kind of, in Van Helsing, almost did.
Okay,
Those are more of like imp vampiric gargoyles, like his children.
Gargoyles are impish, I guess.
Yeah, those are more of like his children. Remember with his brides from the big eggs?
I'm faintly remembering it.
They're like going around the city and they're like...
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I know they're closely associated, like in common fantasy, but I don't know if I've seen it in a like Bram Stoker Dracula.
No, the way they were portrayed was almost like the Oompa Loompas from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where just Dracula was Willy Wonka and he was like, "Come, grab my stuff," and then they're just walking around, doing shit for him.
And they're fucking doing wrestling moves on the army that comes in at the end.
Yeah, and then they're fighting his battles for him and like doing like fucking WWE.
Rey Mysterio fucking leg throws.
That to me, I was kind of like, oh, this is really kind of stupid.
See, that's like the kind of comedy that I was mentioning. It just like out of nowhere, they'll just do silly things like that. This movie has a big modern touch to it. The script is not always old English. It's very modern English. It bothered me at first, but then I just kind of like, I said, okay, whatever. It's just the way it was written. That's fine. I'll just enjoy it for what it is. It may bother you if you like the whole Victorian setting. The aesthetic was very Victorian, and even before that, like Middle Ages. So,
and I really did like too. This is a bit of a spoiler, but you kind of see Dracula
we're in spoilers.
Over centuries. Like
Yes.
you see depictions of like how he over the last 400 years got to where he is now, and I like that it was because they usually do that in the vampire movies, especially.
Yeah.
But I like that in this one, it actually showed him around the world doing different things, and he had a purpose as to why he was where he was.
Yeah.
Trying to find like his lost dead love. The reason why he was touring the world was because he was kind of like outsourcing, and he was. That's why his purpose of like spreading his vampire blood to other people was for, it's so that they can like find her for him.
Yeah.
And he was also working on like that pheromone elixir.
Yes.
That's why he was touring all over the.
That is also
countries.
new for the Dracula story.
Yeah, I did like that though, because whenever you see Dracula, like he walks into a room and everyone's like, oh fuck. But I did like in this one that the reason why is because he's actively wearing a pheromone that he produced, like he made himself.
Specifically attracts only women.
Yeah.
It seems.
It seems, but I think we.
A couple guys kind of glanced at him too.
Yeah, I love how it was only guys from Versailles as well, so just French people are just into that. but yeah, no, I did like the almost like the realism behind it. That he wasn't just this guy walking around with like superpowers. I mean, he did have those. He was able to make things like move. But
Right. Yeah, he wasn't super ethereal in this movie.
No.
Which is fine. He had his little teleporting moments, but he didn't like turn into mist and then fuck Winona out of nowhere. I'm John.
And I'm Eli.
And you're watching Screen Obscura.
And if you like things that suck, you go love.